Okay, here we are. We made it to Friday, everyone. The energy should be feeling good, feeling great. Myself, I'm John Hanson, Amy Rutledge here, Brandon in for Felicia. And Brandon, we haven't seen your full picture yet, but we got a sneak peek. I already feel like you're smarter. You got a bookshelf behind you, brother.
Bookshelf. Look how
as we all
smart
know,
you
I'm a
look.
very academic guy, very learned person. So I figured I might as well put the bookshelf over here on this side of the house instead of the other side of the house. I say house like it's a house. It's a tiny
I know, I love it.
apartment.
It's cute.
Did you get that at
Any place you dwell is a home.
Is it a flea market basket? Like it's cool. I like it. It's a little chic there.
It's got like a little Wakanda vibe to it, little old school African vibes to it. You know, you can put anything there. Cool. It can be books, it can be snacks. I might change it out throughout the weeks. We'll see. May not be books next time.
And what you haven't seen yet is I saw Baby Mandalorian. You know, I don't say Baby Yoda because I hate saying Baby Yoda because it's not Baby Yoda, but he's in there too. So
he's right there, right there at the bottom. You got it. Safe. Well, hey guys, let's start off with Chicago in 60. You ready to go?
Oh yeah.
So there's still hope. There is still hope out there for Summertime Shy. Chicago police have been instructed to prepare for large-scale outdoor events. There's no word though on what those events could be. But I am very excited because I miss doing the Silver Room Block Party. I miss Hyde Park Brewfest. If we can get any little tiny version of that, count me
Street
in.
Fest, any.
Yeah, as a skeptic, I was like, wait, are they planning on more protests like last summer? Because that was a major, important thing. Let's hope we're talking about fun stuff.
Last summer, John
don't get me wrong, but no, I know. I mean, that's good. I was like, okay, all right.
That is an outdoor event for sure. There's always protests in Chicago. Yes. All right, guys, watch out, drivers out there. Illinois tollways are going cash-free permanently starting today. And starting Monday, you can get a $35 speeding ticket for going just 6 miles per hour over the speed limit. Before, it was 10 miles per hour over the speed limit. This has a lot of people upset.
Yeah, it's not speeding till you're 10 over. Like that's how I felt. Like 9 over is where I live. That's where I reside. That's where I thrive.
How you feel and what the law is are two very different things.
Brandon, you hear that? You hear that? Not the ding. That's the fun sucker on a Friday telling me to slow down to 5 miles an hour.
Wait,
Amy,
no, wait. Nope, I did not say that you should slow down. I was explaining the definition of the differences. So you speed all you want. Speed away.
10 and 2 Rutledge.
And you also
10 and 2.
Pay that fine.
10 and 2. Or with one
speed
knee.
Away,
I do one knee a lot.
Well, the city's going to make a lot of money off of that, I'm sure. Also, guys, going on in Chicago, a group of parents are organizing a sick-out to protest CPS's reopening plans. That means keeping students out of both in-person and remote classes. Parents are calling for more remote learning support, including a $100 stipend for parents. I did a sick-out a lot of times when I was a kid. I don't know about y'all. Now the parents, it's their turn.
I think yours is very different, Brandon.
Probably a little bit different. And Ebony Magazine, all about Black history, the iconic Chicago voice for Black America. It's set for a digital relaunch on Monday under new owners. Right now, the plan is for the platform to be supported entirely by ads, but no subscription is required. I mean, Ebony Magazine was like the documentary, the thing that documented Black life, and the civil rights movement, Dr. King, all of that. So to see it come back in any form is pretty exciting.
Thank goodness. I can't believe it actually went away for a while.
Yeah. An important voice.
Hope they pay their writers.
Yeah, amen to that. All right, well, the Department of Children and Family Services has determined that the abuse allegations against St. Sabina Father Michael Pfleger are, quote, unfounded. Now, the agency says there was no credible evidence found and Pfleger will not have to register with the state. Now, they do point out that this doesn't mean that the incident did not happen flat out, just means there isn't credible evidence. Now, Father Pfleger wants to return quickly to his post, but the Archdiocese is still conducting its own independent review. And Amy, I know that's what you and I were kind of chatting about before the show is that he wants to get back, but this could be a while, if ever.
Yeah. The outcome of this is so interesting because, while DCFS has found nothing to be credible, it depends on what the Archdiocese finds. So Father Michael Pfleger, even though he may be found not to have any incidents on his record, may never go back to St. Sabina, actually. And that's unfortunate if that's the case, because, this was a case that was 40 years old. It was the very beginning of his career. There are a lot of questions out there, and I'm not saying whether or not he's guilty or not guilty. I'm just saying it's unfortunate that it's such a murky end to this that we cannot get a solidified answer, or at least enough evidence to be like yay or nay.
Yeah, Pfleger recently got to comment on Twitter. He was allowed to comment on Twitter, and he proclaimed his innocence once again. He claimed it's extortion and things like that. It's just it's sad to see people that do so much good, to see anything involving them that's something like this. So hopefully we get a resolution soon. But yeah, it's going to be a long time before he's able. He's saying right now, though, he thinks this should vindicate him and allow him to get back in that seat. But that's not the case at all. It looks like there's more stuff to be investigated.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, so many of us, let's face it, we are longing to hug a friend right now. I want to get one close and just tight. I'm not letting them go. It may not be out of the question, by the way. Well, no, around the chest and shoulder area will be fine.
Okay, nice.
So there are no official CDC guidelines on seeing other vaccinated people, but hey, if you're vaccinated and they're vaccinated, Dr. Anthony Fauci says the risk is low, but not zero.
What we're saying right now, even though it isn't backed by data, it's backed by common sense, that if you have two vaccinated people and they want to get together, be they family members or friends that you know are vaccinated, you can start getting, as individual people, even though the risk is not zero, the risk becomes extremely low when you have both parties vaccinated.
Woo, woo, love that. Okay, so also, let's keep in mind, today, the FDA granted emergency approval of Johnson & Johnson's single-dose vaccine. So now there are 3 vaccines approved for use in the U.S. That means the rollout's going to be greater. That means more people are going to be vaccinated faster. Whew.
Yeah, that helps give a little more clarity, because the conversation among my people is like, yo, once we all get vaccinated, we can all hang out together and do rooftop parties and this and that. Be careful, right? Still be safe, but there is a glimmer of hope. A glimmer.
No, I'm glad that this is the messaging. This is what I've been arguing for a while now, is that you tell people that they're vaccinated, and if they're vaccinated and their friend is vaccinated, get rid of the mask, talk to each other. It's just like the cold at that point, or the flu. Even if you get it, it's very low in terms of what it'll do. Now, obviously, he has to say there's a chance of a chance of a chance, but there's always a chance of something happening. The messaging should be, if you get vaccinated, we are out of this sucker together. So do it. Like, I think you need to get the carrot to be an attractive carrot.
But I understand his hesitance, right? Because they don't actually know that if you get the vaccine and you could still contract COVID necessarily, to what degree they don't know yet. And then say you are around other people who maybe are more immunocompromised. They got a different shot. It didn't work so much for them. Maybe they're not vaccinated yet. So there are concerns, and he's, hedging his bets a little. I get it.
Yeah, I get it. I'm just saying, like, let's be proud of and
news.
Proud of the science that has happened. By the way, you're talking about the Johnson & Johnson. I was reading about it has a lower effectiveness rate. They say like 65 to 70% or so, which a lot of people are like, oh, that's not 90 or 95. They did this study with 40,000 people worldwide. The hospitalizations, the hospitalizations were so minimal, and not a single person died. I mean, this is groundbreaking as well. Like, I mean, that's the end game. You're never going to prevent this thing from going away entirely, but if you can prevent serious diseases,
and mitigate the risk and mitigate the death.
Were different. The U.S. numbers were different, and they were the 80 percentile range. So it's a little bit different when you factor in worldwide.
Yeah. All right. Hey, y'all, get a shot and then get a blunt. Did I sound cool saying that at all?
Nope.
No. Not a bit.
Get a shot and take a toke.
You sounded like the drug dealer kids are told to avoid in DARE class. Hey, kids.
Yes.
Don't be like that guy.
Yeah. I sound like a narc when I say that. I am definitely a narcotics officer. Hello,
He's wearing
children.
a wire.
Yes. Well, anyways, That phrase that I said earlier sounds like some people's Friday's night. Well, a Michigan weed dispensary offering a free joint to anyone who gets the vaccine. It's called Pot for Shots. I guess the grass is greener on the other side, Brandon, right?
This is a great way to encourage people to get that shot. If you had any hesitancy at all about getting the vaccine, but you enjoy a little, ganja green every now and then, hey, you can make a little compromise, right? I think this is going to help get more people through the door for sure, if that is your thing, smoking blunts.
Mm-hmm.
All I could think of is the first time when you said that, Jazz, like, take a poke, get a pull.
What's that from?
Well, you get a poke in the arm for the vaccine. You take a pull off of a.
Oh,
take a toke.
I didn't know. I don't know the slang. I don't know the slang.
Poke and a toke. Yes.
A
A
toke.
poke and a toke, or a poke and a pull.
You know what's funny about it is like it does still seem like a little like ooh marijuana. Like is this should we be doing this? But like in Michigan here, it's like a beer. Like if there was a brewery giving away like a growler for a vaccine, no one would bat an eye. And I think this is still part of that conversation of like mixing our brain up for marijuana is so bad. Yeah, and it's like hey, it's legal. It's the same thing as doing that. Go for it.
Yeah, totally agree.
They offered edibles to be even better. I'll just say that.
Oh, that'd be dangerous.
Always tasty. Well, coming up at 6:30, he went from security guard to TV host. Steve Wilkos reunites with the man who kickstarted his career. We're talking about Jerry Springer for an exclusive joint interview. More of the Jam when we come back.
A mild Friday night, 40 degrees right now in Chicago. All right, Louder Than a Bomb is the largest youth poetry festival in the world, and it's based right here in Chicago. Felicia chatted with the founder, Kevin Koval, as well as one winner who helps keep the program going.
We just saw Amanda Gorman. She took the national stage at the inauguration, really revitalizing the art form of poetry. What was your take off of that? I mean, really stunning performance.
Yeah, it was kind of like an insight into what we've known for a long time, that young people continue to be courageous reframers of what this, the country needs to be paying attention to. And I think Amanda has participated in youth poetry communities around the country, and we've been, building these communities for over a few decades. And so it was great to see that representation, and it was great to see how the country maybe is taking note of, this dynamic community of young people now in a way that they hadn't prior.
The festival this year, it's actually virtual. What does that mean, and how does that change how you guys do things?
Yeah, I mean, of course, we miss the opportunity to commune, next to one another in the same venue. But the virtual space allows a kind of intimacy as well. Right now we get to see your very fly crib, for instance, and so this will be, an opportunity to hear from the bedrooms and living rooms and front stoops of young people from around the Chicagoland area. A lot of the Bomb has every zip code represented, and it really is a pulse check about what is on the minds and hearts of young writers and young artists. They explore a spectrum of human experience, everything from the hilarious to the horrible, and you'll get to hear what's on the mind of this generation.
And Demetrius, I remember you talking about Louder Than a Bomb back in high school. So how do you feel like that has helped you develop into manhood?
Yeah, it's everything to me, Felicia. When I joined LTAB, Young Chicago Authors, when I was 15 years old at Morgan Park High School. Should have been a Mustang. I needed something to channel my energy and channel, the frustrations I had, and YCA and Louder Than a Bomb gave me a space to tell my story, and that's what it does now. And I tell anybody I can run into that it set me up for the biggest success I can have ever.
Well, the festival runs March 13th through April 24th. You can sign up to participate or just watch the performances. They're great at youngchicagoauthors.org. Amy.
All right, some news you need to know. Black Chicago police officers are banding together to help open the lines of communication between the department and communities of color. Members of the new nonprofit, the Black Public Safety Alliance, will work on diversity, mentoring youth, police reform, and if necessary, pushing back against the police union and its president. I'm so happy to see this happen. I think it's exactly what a lot of these communities needed, because some are afraid to talk to the police. The police are not talking necessarily to the communities correctly. So here's the wonderful bridge that a lot of these communities needed.
Yeah, it's essential, really. I think that Black Chicago police officers face a really complicated job because they're battling perceptions about their job from their own community. They're battling 100%. Doubts from their own community about them in the job. And they're just trying to represent and help Chicago overall, right? So for them to be able to form together, kind of collaborate, but also provide a response to some of the, let's keep it real, low-key racist rhetoric coming from the FOP and FOP leaders, it's essential. It's essential.
Nothing low-key about it, Brandon, but I see what you were trying to do there.
Yeah. I try to be careful.
I think the union pushback is really important, and the union thing is really tough, right? Because unions love to present this very unified force. It's how they get things that they want from the people that they're negotiating with. It's important to have a unified face and a unified messaging. But of course, it is like so much more nuanced when you go through the rank and file. So I imagine so many voices, even if you have a large contingent of Black officers amongst the rank and file and the leadership, are essentially silenced, outweighed by the majority, even slim majority, that has to put together this statement or this representation of what they are. It's really tough, and I'm glad to see that there might be a little pushback within the union. I think and we see this with all unions, teachers union, same thing. It's great to have a diversity of opinions coming out about it. It may strengthen their bargaining position a little bit, but I think it strengthens bonds with communities. And isn't that ultimately what we're all going for?
Yeah, and I will say it's really cool because the alliance, a 25-member alliance right now, has said, listen, we don't agree with the FOP on a number of things. And the FOP president, who has been very divisive in his comments and actions so far, they're frustrated with it. I think this is a great bridge for that, and to let the community know, while we're a member of this, we're not all in agreement of this, as you said, John. So it's great to see they're saying, listen, we're going to speak up when they're not speaking for us.
Yeah, and if this is if you believe in the policing system, this is a great way to bring more Black people into the force, because now when you're in the force, you're not alone, right?
Hmm.
You have a support system, and that is so crucial in any industry you're in. But as a police officer, especially when you got all these outside voices, you need your brothers with you, you need your sisters
Yeah.
with you to kind of have a shoulder to cry on and lean on, because you're going to see some rough stuff out there. So this is great for mental health. There's so many wide-ranging impacts here, and I'm surprised it hasn't happened sooner, honestly.
Yeah.
For sure. Hey, when I think of Friday night, I think of Krista Green. I just think of fun. I think of delightful
Yeah.
things. Yeah, she is Miss Friday Night on this
Brave.
show, girl. Yeah, she's
Oh,
young,
stop
she's
it.
exciting. She looks like she's ready to go out right now. She looks so gorgeous tonight. So do you, Amy.
What?
Brandon,
Well, I was
you're
like, come
doing
on,
good, too.
John.
Yeah, no, but Krista looks like she's getting ready to have some fun in her house alone tonight.
Because she can.
What
Because she
a-
can.
What a
Yo,
mood booster that was. Thank you so much, John, and keep it coming anytime. I'm all ears.
Yeah.
So much good stuff coming up, guys. It's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's a groundbreaking new Superman movie. I've got the deets and trending in just a bit. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Oh, I got first one. First one on Blinds on the Jam is hard, but I got it.
You can do this. You're a pro.
I like the third spot in Blindside. Uh-oh,
Ooh.
here it comes. Okay, what
Uh-oh.
was your first impression of John Hanson? Oh.
Oh
So
my
I only met
goodness.
John Hanson.
Oh, boy.
It's only been a couple of years. Very,
yeah.
very handsome. I got a lot of texts from a lot of my girlfriends asking if he was available. And very, very sweet, outgoing.
Oh, thank you, Amy. That's very nice of you.
I've changed since
So-
then. Whatever.
Be real, Cole. Be real.
My first impression of John Hanson, I thought to myself, wow, this guy has a lot of energy. Too much energy. I need to stay away.
Never.
He's a little too much for
It's a
me.
little much. Yeah, I get
Need to
that.
back away. But later it's like, okay, I can get a beer with him, I can take him in doses.
Still haven't invited me on that beer, but yeah, Krista.
Pandemic and all.
Had a beer too.
Nah, I loved John's energy when I first met him because I was like, here we are, here I am. Me and John are going to be at the same energy level, and I love it. I also mega appreciated his kooky creativeness. Every day, he'd come up with some random but still wildly fun segment, and I was like, where does this guy keep coming up with ideas?
You're all so
Oh,
kind.
look at this little love fest. Aren't you shocked?
Thank y'all. Yeah, I need to cry a little bit. Let's take a break so I can wet my eyes after all those comments. Thank you all. You're very sweet.
Okay, it is time for my top 3 trending stories of the evening, and we've got an update on Lady Gaga. Her dog Walker is breathing on his own and expected to make a full recovery after being shot in the chest. Still no word on her missing pups, but we're glad to hear that he's gonna hopefully be all good. And I'm so hyped for this next story. Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak have joined forces. The two are releasing an album with their band Silk Sonic. Be Pope
Love
in
the
the
name.
audience. Yes. It's going to be so good. I think the single we're going to see next Friday. And I mean, they're just funk. These two artists are total funk. I'm so stoked for this. My boyfriend already
Me
said
too.
it's going to be the favorite album of the year for
Epic.
him. So
Yeah.
we'll see with not
Potential to
even
be a
hearing it,
classic.
but it's going to be good. And okay, this last one, word on the street is J.J. Abrams is producing a new Superman feature for Warner Bros. And sources say that we can expect to see a black Superman. About time. And apparently Michael B. Jordan tried to do this a couple years ago. So I'm hoping he comes back into this because I think he'd make a great Superman.
Yeah.
Who would you guys want to see?
Yeah.
I will pass on Michael B. Jordan, but I think the storytelling potential is amazing here. I mean, Superman's an outsider, right? As an alien. Now you add that he's black, an outsider in America too. Like, I just
Intersectionality.
got Coates writing it. The storylines. I love it.
I can't think of who I want it to be because I just keep going back to like some of my faves. I don't necessarily know if, like, I think of Taye Diggs, but I don't know if that's necessarily his role. But I do love him, so
I could see it.
I'm just ready for the trolls that will be really upset by this. Yeah, for whatever reason, you know, they're gonna be out there. They're gonna be out there and so upset for some reason, and I love it. It's great. Finally, it's about darn time.
They already are, John.
Are they really? Oh, I'm sure. Oh my God. Oh, the
you
internet.
called it.
We'll be back.
Gotcha.
Ho, everyone get on this horse. This horse is called Friday, and it is riding us through the sunset and into the great weekend beyond, everyone. Welcome to the Jam. This is our last half hour of the week, which is always very loopy. I don't know what's about to happen in this next half hour, but I've got a lot of coffee in my system already.
That analogy was loopy. That was a loopy analogy.
I didn't know.
Like,
Well, 4 seconds before it came on, I was like, what am I going to say? Something about a horse jumping on it and riding on. I don't know. That's how this goes. Friday night. It's like Mad Libs. We don't know what's happening.
Save him. Save him, Brandon. Just keep going.
Let's save him indeed. Let's get started, shall we? News you need to know. Gunmen on motorcycles have stormed a boarding school in Nigeria, kidnapping more than 300 children. This is the third mass abduction from African schools since December. Tiger Woods has been moved to a new LA hospital to continue his career after that awful car accident Tuesday. He suffered significant leg injuries as a result. And the latest on the pandemic relief bill, a vote is expected tonight to advance it. It'll head to the Senate for a big fight if it passes the House, as it's expected to with the majority. Some notes here, there's a $15 wage increase that was put in there that was actually ruled impermissible by Senate rules. Otherwise, you're going to expect $1,400 stimulus payments, extending federal unemployment benefits, $350 billion in aid to state and local governments, boosting vaccine funding. They hope to get those checks out. We'll sign the bill by March 14th. So this has been talked about for a while here, just a matter of getting it done.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that the wage is what seems to be holding up things on either side, right? Because frankly, they've been fighting for this for a long time, pre-pandemic. So the wage increase is not anything new, but it's needed now more than ever. I mean, these stimulus checks are great, but you're giving them to people who need them to pay their bills. You're not stimulating anything. You're not getting the economy going again. So you need to up the living wage so people can actually then put money back into the economy.
I agree with you. The Senate parliamentarian ruling, though, that it's not in this COVID bill may have actually saved President Biden for this COVID bill. You had a couple Democrats that were on the fence about the minimum wage hike. By that being ruled off of it, now they can go ahead and vote for COVID relief on its own and then bring up minimum wage as a separate bill another time. So it might have actually saved his hide a little bit. My thing is, there are so many people complaining. Biden's been in office for 37 days, and I know he said on the campaign trail that if you vote for Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff, you're going to have $2,000 checks on day one. Maybe he shouldn't have said on day one, but these things are processes. This takes some time to happen. They're moving about as quick as they can, minus the impeachment trial. They're going to have to vote in the Senate, then they're going to have to come together and do a reconciliation bill. It takes time. It's coming, though. It's going to happen.
It's a stupid process.
No, it isn't. I love when it's slow when it's something I don't like. I know, but what can you do? This is how government works.
Like, they're looking at Schumer like 15-hour minimum wage. Like, bro, just give us the checks. Like, come on.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the vaccine. So food, this is all tied together. So stick with me here.
Yeah.
Food is not bad or good. It is just food. Remember that, okay? That is an important distinction. A professional therapist is hoping to help parents teach kids the size of your body is not a failure or an accomplishment. Now, I bring this up because it's part of a great article in the Huffington Post, and timely as people across the country right now are starting to get the COVID vaccine earlier than they really expected to because their BMI might be higher. So they're having to defend themselves on social media because a lot of them are getting slammed for, take a look at this, having a higher BMI and jumping ahead of people necessarily in the COVID line. So this is a woman, Rena Sultan, who was not sure if she even wanted to get the vaccine because she was allowed to go higher in the vaccine order because of her BMI. But historically, a lot of people who are overweight or obese have complained that the medical system just doesn't pay attention to them anyway. Every time they go in, they say, oh, that ailment's because you're fat. That ailment's because you're fat. And they're not listening to what people are saying. So now for once in a lot of people's lives, the medical system is listening to them and saying, yeah, we need to pay attention and you get the vaccine first.
I have struggled with weight for a long time, so it's been like a conversation in my own mind for a while, but it was kind of shocking. Okay, I'll just level with you guys. According to the BMI standards, last year I was overweight. This year, depending on which height you use, I'm technically now obese. And the only thing that's changed in that time is I started going to CrossFit and gained 5 to 10 pounds of muscle mass. Every single player in the NBA, they analyzed, is obese, technically. So BMI as a whole is a bad thing. But here's the thing. if for whatever reason you are put in front of the line for your BMI, maybe you have struggled with weight, you should never be shamed for that. They have put you in line for a reason for that. You should get your place in line and take it. But I totally get that people do not see it that way. They don't get it because people look at you and they say, oh, you're healthy, you're fine. And it's like the reality is there's other things going on. And maybe you are, and you still can be healthy and you can be overweight. And that's another thing too. Like it's a very complex issue. Everyone needs to give each other a little bit of grace on this and realize that, yes, obviously I think we all have an idealized mind of where we want to be, but the realities aren't always there.
There's a lot more that goes into your weight than just food. I guess that's what it really comes down to. I mean, you got to factor in family history. The country folk in my family, they call it being big boned. There's a lot of big boned people in my family, but they're healthy as an ox, right? They're playing basketball, all that type of stuff. But yeah, they're bigger. The popes are bigger people. That's just the way it is, right?
Popes are bigger people.
They're just bigger people, big boned. Okay, we thick with 3 C's. There's nothing wrong with that. You should embrace the skin you're in, and the medical community needs to recognize that BMI, like you just pointed out really well, John, is really outdated and really a flawed system to evaluate whether you're healthy.
And I'm so glad that this came up now too, because I'm actually having these discussions with Henry a lot, my 10-year-old, because he's asking for food during the day. I'm not going to deprive him of food, but I'm like, sweetie, you're not going to come home and have, Cheetos and Cheez-Its. And like, but if you want to have an apple and then you can have some crackers, if you're still hungry, then maybe you do a banana. And then because like no food should be demonized. And unfortunately, that's what happened to John, in your childhood, in my childhood. I got put on a diet when I was 15. It's like that just messes us up because it was all done out of love because everyone was trying to keep us smaller because smaller was always deemed as healthier. That's not always the way it is anymore.
This is just one more reason these conversations is to be really happening in homes and families about what really is healthy or not.
100%.
And anyways, exactly. All right, this is a healthy story. I love this story. Okay, an Indianapolis principal is getting a lot of praise after a really cool way he dealt with a student, helping him instead of punishing him. So Anthony Moore is this 13 or 14-year-old. He showed up to class with a hat on, which is a dress code violation. So he went to the dean's office. The principal started talking to him, and it became pretty clear that the young teenager was just embarrassed about his haircut. And so that's why he was wearing the hat. So instead of disciplining him, the principal, through a snowstorm, went away, drove home, got clippers, and gave the student a haircut. He showed this, and the student was like hesitant, but he's like, "No, look, I've done these haircuts for my boys many times, and I think it's awesome." They didn't punish him, and they just cut his hair instead.
That's what you do.
I'm laughing because the hesitancy is natural for black guys, black boys, because your relationship with your barber, it's trusted. But clearly, whoever cut his hair before didn't do that great of a job because he was embarrassed about it, right? So, it's just great to see this nice act being done. Too many kids get punished, and then they're thrown into the system. They get suspended from school. They get in trouble. That school to prison pipeline. This is how you avoid that.
Yeah.
I just want to say the principal's black, and none of that matters, but I think it matters sometimes having a lot of principals in those systems that understand what young black men, black boys go through, and that's an important reason why you need representation at all levels of education.
100%.
All right, take it, B-Pope.
Great point, John. All right, guys. Well, being the first black Batwoman is not a role that Javicia Leslie takes lightly. We're going to talk to her about her historic role and how the show tackles race right after the break. And Krista Green, what's up?
Stick around, everybody. It's almost reunion time. Steve Wilkos and Jerry Springer are here for an exclusive. We'll be right back.
Well, Javicia Leslie is making history, donning the cape and cowl of Batwoman. She is the first Black woman superhero to have her own TV show. Pretty big deal. And I spoke with her about what that means to her and how the show tackles race.
I met the new girl. She's gonna be a handful. Don't kill me, but I made some alterations.
To what, the suit? New look.
New Batwoman.
You know, it's interesting because it's addressed, but not in a way where it's like that's the only subject and that's the only topic, right? There are little moments here and there that it's obviously addressed, but our show itself is so diverse in general that it's like it doesn't have to be overly addressed.
Give me a chance.
Because then you'd have to explain why Luke is Black and Sophie's Black, and you know what I mean? Like you can't just point out why one person's Black when there's two other Black cast members. So we do a great job making sure that we talk about it because it is a subject that's being talked about in society. And we understand that this role represents so many people. So we definitely don't ever want to just move past it. We want to give it its recognition and its true, you know, we want to bring it to light, but it's also still, we're still story heavy. We're still in there. It's Gotham, you know, there's so many things to get through and so many supervillains. I mean, the moment we get past one, another one comes out of the blue and it's just like, again, we all just sit down, but that's Gotham. It's supposed to be like that.
This is a moment for not just comic book history and comic series history, but Black history. And it really means a lot. Little girls are going to watch this and they're going to see you all heroed up, ready to fight crime. I'm wondering, for you growing up, what would it have meant for you as a little kid to see a Black woman superhero on TV?
Time to be powerful.
Being able to just turn the TV on constantly once a week and see someone that looks like you in a superhero suit. I don't know. I feel like, man, that would have been cool. That would have been cool because I remember when it came to like Halloween and it was time to dress up dress up as whomever you looked up to. I only had like two choices, you know? And like I said, they were film adaptations, you know? Never did I have someone where I could dress up and everyone, you know, and had choices. I didn't have choices. We all know who the two Black women were that we had a choice to dress up as. And Halle played both of them. So to be able to kind of like enter a world where now we got another choice, and there's other choices as well. I look at Thunder from Black Lightning, and those women over there, and how they're just adding to the choices. They're adding to the representation. They're adding to the empowerment of young Black kids that can find superheroes that look like them that they can connect to.
All about the choices. It's all we want. You can catch Javicia as Batwoman Sundays at 7 p.m. on CW26. Amy.
Well, Iota Phi Theta is the youngest of the Black Greek letter organizations, also known as the Divine Nine. The org was founded just over 50 years ago, and here is the story behind the brotherhood.
Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated was founded September 19, 1963 at Morgan State College, which is now Morgan State University. Well, our founders were not your traditional college students. Our founders had already been in served in the wars, had already had jobs, and also had families. So they were your non-traditional college student, and they just kind of saw a need at the time for a new organization to come forth, especially during the time of 1963, as we know so much was going on around that time.
Being the youngest organization to join the Divine Nine and the fifth largest predominantly Black service organization, these Iota men came onto the scene with new energy and worked to make effective change that's still relevant today.
It was needed, and it's still needed now. We are a heavy presence in our communities. We are a heavy presence in schools.
Iota Phi Theta boasts over 250 chapters around the country and even in Korea. You'll find them in your community at walkathons and food drives, but largely drawing a huge emphasis towards political awareness in children.
One of our foundations is called the More Than a Hashtag program, which really focuses on doing the voter registration. So at the time when everyone was looking to get everyone registered to vote. That was one of our big pushes and big initiatives. We partner with St. Jude's every year for the St. Jude's Run. Of course, we know due to COVID that was not able to happen, but we still partner with them to raise funds for them to donate to the St. Jude's research.
Scholarship, leadership, citizenship, fidelity, and brotherhood. These guiding principles have been ingrained into fraternity members like Illinois Congressman Bobby Rush. It's a history and legacy we can all be proud of.
We just are continuing to build that tradition and not rest up on one. That we're continuously moving forward, advancing the organization, also in advancing our people as well as the community.
Our coverage of Black History Month and how Black culture has influenced society is sponsored by Beam Legal and Foreman Mills. Krista.
Thanks, Amy. The kings of TV drama are here. We are catching up with Steve Wilkos and Jerry Springer right after the break. Stick with us.
Jerry Springer and Steve Wilkos are two of the biggest stars on the UNCW 26. Of course, they also famously worked together for over a decade when Steve was director of security on the Jerry Springer Show. They are reuniting together here for us. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here together. How often do you guys get a chance to catch up?
Not as much, obviously, as when we worked in the same place, but yeah, we still keep in touch. I mean, Steve will be one of my great friends that I ever had, period. So, we obviously keep in touch. I'm just kidding. Early on, I mean, in the early days when we were working together on the show, he used to call me old man. Hey, old man, how you doing? Making fun of me because I'm 20 years older than him. And now, God bless him, he stopped doing it because now it's no longer funny.
Well, I'm now, Jerry, than when I first met you. You were 50, I think, when you just turned 50 when I on the show, and now I'm going to be 57. So, yeah, we've known each other a long time.
Refresh our audience's memories. I mean, you were a cop here in Chicago. Jerry started working. How did you guys come to be? Was this like an after-hours gig for you to make as security? Is that how it all kind of started?
Yeah, so I was working in Humboldt Park in the 14th District, and one of my friends, Mike McDormand, who actually runs my security, he said, hey, you want to work a side job tomorrow, the Jerry Springer Show? And I said, yeah. And I honestly didn't even know who Jerry was. So but this was a long time ago. This was before the show was a huge hit. And I started on the show, and they kept using me more and more and more. And then, like, me and Jerry really connected because we both huge baseball fans, and we would start talking about that. And then when he became just a huge star, he needed somebody to kind of like go around with him, watch his back, and just be with them. Because of Jerry and because of the show, my life just completely changed. I was going to be a Chicago policeman and get my pension after 30 years, and I met my wife, I had my kids, my career, everything because of the Jerry Springer Show. So it really, I got lots of thanks to Jerry for it.
Steve once told us that Dennis Rodman sat on your lap, Jerry. So,
Actually,
any other dirt that
he's
we're
got
missing
it.
here?
No, Steve has it just a little bit backwards. We both wear. He's got the incident right. I was having dinner at Gibson's, and Rodman was there after the game with a bunch of the guys at a different table. And as I was leaving the restaurant, and I walked by their table, he grabs me. Hey, Jerry Springer! He picks me up and puts me on his lap, and my feet didn't touch the floor. And for 5 minutes, everyone in the restaurant, they're laughing, and I want to get down, and I'm shaking my legs, like, put me down, and he wouldn't put me
All right, don't
down.
forget, you can check out Judge Jerry, the Steve Wilkos Show, and the Jerry Springer Show on the U and on CW26.
Okie dokie, everybody. If you are getting ready to maybe binge watch some TV or movie shows, there's always moments that'll make you cringe and go, that's not real. That's not what happens in real life. And then you lose focus. You're all mad. So what fake things do you hate most in movies? Amy.
Up Close and Personal, 1996, Michelle Pfeiffer and Robert Redford. Okay, she is a reporter, and she goes into Holmesburg Prison to interview a prisoner she'd interviewed years before when she was a junior reporter. Well, it's a big thing, and there's a lockdown inside the prison, and all of a sudden they're randomly going live. There's no cables, there's no microwave truck, there is nothing. And then get this, she's doing a live shot, and then they bring the sat truck, and they're watching her live shot, and then there's an explosion. And somehow in the explosion, you actually see her camera and her flying out of the explosion. But yet their camera was shooting it. Drives me nuts every time.
Well, that was awfully specific. This question was written very generally speaking, but you went very good, Amy. Thank you for that.
Yeah, but now I'm enticed. I want to watch that movie. So thank you, Amy.
It's a good movie.
For me, I gotta say, it's how quickly people can do things, especially my favorite genre is like mystery thrillers, killers, stuff like that. And I was just watching National Treasure, and they hacked that password so fast. Like, it took him 3 tries. That does not happen in real life. Also, the password was Valley Forge, and I thought of you, John Hanson, because I didn't understand that history reference. I'm like, I bet John Hanson knows this.
Yeah, see, there you go. Poper.
Okay, I got 2. So when they're on the phone, right, they never say goodbye to each other. They just hang up. There's never a bye, a see you later. It just end conversation just like that, and it makes no sense at all to me. The other thing, I just hate how dialogue works in some movies. Like, some of the dialogue just doesn't make any sense. You don't have 3 separate conversations in one conversation. But if you're watching an Aaron Sorkin movie or documentary or TV show, that's exactly what's happening, and it's the most annoying thing in the world to me. Hate that.
That's great.
I don't like sword fight scenes in general. I don't like car chase scenes in general. But like when they are so unbelievable, like when it's one person left and they've got their sword there, and there's like 100 people There's no chance that 100 people wouldn't kill that one guy. Like, what are we doing here? Just make it realistic. Make it 3 or 4 people that they've got to beat up, not 100 people. It's like,
I mean, not with a battle stance like this. Not if you're holding it like this, John.
That's why. Yeah. But wait, John, wouldn't you admit like the Bourne Identity, Bourne Supremacy, all those car chases are mad. Those are awesome, like awesome mad, like sick.
Yeah.
Right?
They are so
Awesome
good to
bad.
fast forward through. I hate them. I hate car
Oh my
chases.
gosh, I find them totally engrossing because they're so
The
good.
John Wick. The ones in John Wick are
Yes.
great too.
Yeah.
Car chases are stupid.
Ronin?
Car chases are the worst way. The only time they're funny in Blues Brothers, where they're making fun of car chases. That works. All right, we better chase ourselves on out of here. Have a great weekend, everyone. We will see you Monday.
See you Monday.
Hasta
Car chase
pasta.
on the Kennedy. Just kidding.